It has cost the U.S. taxpayer $37.5 billion so far. We, of course, are talking about the U.S.'s war in Iran, in which today Pete Hegseth was in front of Congress answering a lot of questions and then dropped the bombshell that he needs roughly about $70 billion more for this war. Hegseth was actually on Capitol Hill because he says that this supplemental war fund needs to be passed in order for the United States to continue what they're doing in Iran, which up until this point, the United States has lost 17 service members, including over 100 that have been injured. Remember, the Republicans right now are trying to get a $95 billion funding package passed, in which $60 billion of that is for military operations and billions others for national security purposes. Many senators are actually calling out the Trump administration, saying, why are you guys asking for more money now when you haven't used the money that you already got approved last year for? And of course, the biggest question that every American has is, how much money do we have to throw into this? And well, one of the senators did ask General Raisin Cain, in which he responds with, quote, I can't answer what it will cost because the enemy has a vote. Republicans will be moving forward with this package, but I want you to pay attention to the Senate because it does look like they're getting ready to put together another vote to kind of rein in President Trump's powers when it comes to the war in Iran. If it passes, it doesn't necessarily mean that President Trump will stop his war in Iran. Simply think of it like this. Your parents tell you you can't play video games anymore and you ignore them. Well, eventually there's going to be consequences because Congress has the authority to pull back money, not approve money, and put more pressure on the president to get him to stop. Bottom line is, if we don't end this war soon, it's going to be costing you and I, the American taxpayer, a lot more money.
So you're essentially saying you're asking for literally $1.5 trillion for a war that President Trump said he already won. You're asking for $1.5 trillion, unlimited money for bombs, but insufficient money in for the American people, for their health care, their food, their housing, and our farmers, Secretary Rollins, who we have cut SNAP program. We are not funding the losses from emergencies that have happened in blue states, particularly when we had frost.
That's not true.
False, you're not funding it. But back to you, Secretary Hegseth.
And I would like to respond to the fertilizer and the gas.
Have your chance, Secretary Hegseth.
There's no reason to be rude.
You are asking for unlimited money for bombs when people can't feed their families. And I don't know how this administration intends to defend those decisions to the American people.
So didn't we hear the war was already under control? Didn't we hear America already achieve its military objectives? So why are taxpayers being asked for another 88 billion? Help me understand, because every time politicians talk about what they tell us it is necessary, then a few months later, we need more money, then more money, then more money again. Defense Secretary Pete told Congress this war already cost about 37 billion, and now the administration is asking us for roughly 88 billion. That's taxpayers' money. That's your money. That's my money. My question is simple: is if America is not making progress or are making progress, why are we asking for more money? This money can literally be used for something else: healthcare, hospital, veteran, road, housing, even some small business. Instead, Congress is once again debating another massive war funding package, and America have every right to ask, how much is enough? Should Congress approve more money for the war, or should that money just stay in America? Why?
Not unlimited bombs, Senator. I'm asking for the right bombs at the right time to ensure we can deter our adversaries into the future. And that's why this is a generational investment. And it was the previous administration that didn't fund this department.
The reason why they are so upset with you and this administration is because the words you have used in the past don't add up. About Iran specifically, you said that we had obliterated, quote unquote, Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. The president made the same claim. Yet 8 months later, in February of 2026, the president launched an active war claiming Iran was within 2 weeks of having a weapon. So when you say two very different things, the American people don't know who to believe or what to believe. They just know they can't afford their health care, they can't afford their food, they can't afford housing, and our farmers are continuing to suffer. So, which is true? Was it obliterated or wasn't it? What's the status?
The nuclear sites under Midnight Hammer were obliterated, but Iranians foolishly continued to attempt to pursue nuclear capabilities, which is why we destroyed their defense industrial base and so many of the other capabilities to ensure they can't get to a nuclear weapon. So we're staying laser focused on the objective, and you're trying to make campaign commercials.
Not funding this department at $1.5 trillion, I believe, is the greatest threat that our nation faces.
Yeah, he just asked for $500 billion more a year for our military. We're nearly $40 trillion in debt, but listen to who he blames.
The disaster of what the Biden administration budgets gave us.
Tell me if I misheard it.
Do you have an extra $600 lying around for Hegseth's war? What about his defense budget? $1.5 trillion. How much does that work out to per average taxpayer? About $9,000. How many of you have an extra $9,000 lying around for Hegseth's Pentagon? That's not only a record budget, it's a reckless budget. And he has no plan for bringing this war to a close.
Yikes, this greasy motherfucker. Can we get him some Dawn soap to try to help with that thing? It looks like an oil spill up there. You're going to drown a duck in that stuff. Did he dip his head in the reflecting pool algae? Well, like, what is that? So here is Pete Hegseth saying we all owe Trump a debt of gratitude. Shut up.
The fact that those contingencies all were part of the possibility, and we understood that, is all the more reason why President Trump deserves the kind of praise he should get for undertaking this effort, having the courage to ensure that crazy Islamists can't have a nuclear weapon to hold us at issue. And he's been willing to stay committed to that regardless of the challenges.
So he should be praised. He should be praised for starting a war without authority, creating a situation in which the world economy is suffering tremendously. We have to have extra money for our farmers.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? That's what Trump wants. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
And we have no outcome, at least no realistic outcome in sight yet. Let me switch to General Kane.
So there it is. We should be thanking Donald Trump for his hard work. So there it is. And this is the hard work they talk about. Images coming out from our own military, the damage and destruction. The damage and destruction that they're not even reporting on, hiding hundreds of casualties. If they're hiding that, what else are they?
This is exactly why Americans are frustrated. Every election, politicians are saying they're going to fix the economy, lower cost, helping working family, reduce waste. Then somehow there is always money for another war. Always. If you ask for a better healthcare, people say there is no money. If you ask for affordable housing, there is no money. If you ask for student debt relief, there is no money. But then it is time to fund another military operation. Billions suddenly appear. Now, whether you support this war or not, that's your choice. You don't tell Americans they have to tighten their belt while Washington keeps sending our money overseas. What do you think? Should Americans prioritize domestic issue before approving money or approving any war spending? Because Congress should not even be discussing this, because they went into this war without Congress in the first place. And Trump has said it many times that they've won this war. So why are we still bringing out 88 billion of taxpayers' money for the war? Why? Why?
Pete Hegseth said that the United States has been trying to negotiate with Iran within the Strait of Hormuz, but they keep shooting at commercial ships. He just said that they're going to hit Iran 10 times harder every single night. Watch this.
Something no president's been willing to do for 47 years. They build up conventional capability like the North Koreans did. Remember, that's how North Korea made their way to a bomb. So much weaponry that no one was willing to stand up to them. President Trump was, and he continues to this day. Iran's been given every opportunity to negotiate, to show that they're reasonable on the Strait of Hormuz. But if they're going to shoot a commercial ship, then we're going to hit them, as the president said, 10 times harder, which every night we're degrading further and further. And the president has all the options necessary. If they want to talk, they can talk. Otherwise, they can deal with the War Department.
But Pete Hegseth testified on Capitol Hill asking for billions of dollars for the United States Pentagon, saying that the Pentagon is in a budget shortfall, running out of money as we speak to fund the war in Iran, a war that is only escalating, not de-escalating. At the same time, MAGA Republicans are issuing a pretty big apology today. Laura Loomer, chief among them, saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for believing Russian propaganda. I'm sorry for supporting Russia in its war against Ukraine. Laura Loomer even visited Ukraine and, in a way, saw the light. It all comes as Republicans are demanding answers about Mitch McConnell's health. Trump is seeking to nominate Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, as the next UN Secretary General.
That surrendered to Iranian ships under the Biden administration. So their Navy was effective in expeditionary ways.
We're talking about a war you started, not a situation in which oil was flowing freely. There was no conflict. We weren't losing personnel as a result of Iranian actions. So
I want to begin by talking about Pete Hegseth's testimony on Capitol Hill, because there are a couple key moments that I think the public needs to be aware of. The first key moment occurred between Senator Jack Reed and Pete Hegseth. Senator Jack Reed confronted Pete Hegseth, accusing him of using the Biden administration as an excuse for gross negligence and failing to warn President Trump that a war in Iran could effectively close the Strait of Hormuz. Take a listen to this moment between Hegseth and Jack Reed.
He should be praised for starting a war without authority, creating a situation in which the world economy is suffering tremendously. We have to have extra money for our farmers, and we have no outcome, at least no realistic outcome in sight yet. Let me switch to...
That's not the only moment that was pretty interesting. John Ossoff, senator from Georgia, has been known for tough questioning of witnesses, and he asked Pete Hegseth point blank about, well, you've been talking about how Iran has been decimated, Iran has been obliterated, and yet it continues to happen. Take a listen to this moment.
Day 14, nearly 5 months ago, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war. Was that an accurate statement?
They didn't have a Navy any longer. It was completely sunk. Their missiles were buried underneath a lot of their underground facilities and their defense.
Well, Pete's starting to beg for his $1.5 trillion for the war that was over on day one. That's about to start into the 5th month. And Bill Barr's been seen on Capitol Hill. I thought we were done with him. And Kash Patel's getting ready to go to Russia. Why? Bourbon's his thing. He don't do vodka. And the old man is bloated up. Isn't that terrible? And I went to the grocery store. If you want to get pissed off, go to the grocery store. And I got my electric bill. And I bought a mattress online that I've not seen or laid on or anything. They say I can return it if I don't like it. Please like it. The Tate brothers are back in the news. They shouldn't be in the news. They should be in the jail, like a lot of people should be. And they've been talking about how he was given all those contracts without putting it out for bid. Well, yeah. God, they say Hegseth's going to provide answers about the war. His answer is, give them all testosterone. And the old man talking about China interfering in our elections, but he said, but that's okay, we do stuff to them too. You know, at that exact moment, his entire staff was like, shut up. He ain't gonna shut up. Nah, they can't stop him. Well, let's go listen to Pete lie. Susan Collins is the chair. Keep on dying, that Harold woman. You still look like a dinosaur. Put your boots on, it's gonna be deep.
So Pete Hegseth wants more money, because of course he does. He says that they need, what is it, 67, 68, something like that, $billion, more dollars than what was already allotted to them for what he is calling a wider war. Motherfucker, we don't want a wider war. We don't even want the war we have. In addition, it is shameful that he is trying to leverage the loss of American soldiers to get more money out of Congress so that he can expand the war so that we can lose more soldiers.
National security matters a lot. No serious person will say Americans should defend itself, but Congress also have a responsibility to explain to taxpayers where exactly our money is going to. If you're asking for a working American to fund America with $88 billion, you owe us transparency, you owe us accountability, you owe us that. And you literally owe them a very clear plan. But at some point, the American people stop asking whether we can afford the war. They're asking whether Americans can afford, keep ignoring the problem at home. If you were a senator today, would you vote for a yes or no to the funding of this war? Because the war has ended, according to Trump. I don't know. Why are we still paying for it?